Okay, everyone, good afternoon and welcome to this Facebook Live. My name is Kylie and today we're diving into our LEPS 520 discussion board MVP interview. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Whether you're here with us live or watching the replay, please go ahead and utilize that chat feature and say hello and let us know you're here. And with that, I will go ahead and kick it off over to our academic director, Dr. Erik Fritsvold. Hold on, Erik, one moment, please. Okay, Erik, go ahead and kick us off. Thank you.
Wonderful. Kylie, thanks so much for the introduction and all the behind-the-scenes legwork and infrastructure work that goes into doing a Facebook Live. Law enforcement and public safety leadership community, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. We know your time's valuable, so we'll keep this one nice and succinct for you. The purpose of us coming together is to recognize, quite frankly, probably the single most prestigious recognition that our program has to offer. And that's our discussion board MVP, or most valuable player. This is a student who not only raises the level of discourse and is actively engaged on our discussion boards, but leverages their professional experience in a way that really facilitates the best thing that our program has to offer, which is experienced students sharing best practices across the country. And it is no surprise that the winner of our spring 2021 LEPS 520 in the best practices in community engagement course, voted on by his peers, is Chief Shawn Butler. Chief, huge congratulations, and thanks for taking the time to join us here.
Thank you. Tremendous honor, and it is my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Our plan of attack here, I'm going to give a brief background on your career, and then that will preview some of the substantive discussion points from forthcoming questions, and then we'll transition right into substance. So a little bit of background and context here. The Chief brings over 2.5 decades of law enforcement experience to the program. Currently the Chief of Police for the city of Auburn, New York, so ballpark 3,000 miles northeast of where I'm talking to you from right now. He has leadership roles with the IACP and the Central New York Chiefs of Police, which we'll talk about momentarily. A graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy, Class 274. And I've learned that that class number is very important, so I wanted to make sure to highlight it here for you, Chief. And just completed the LEPS program and graduated. So he actually earned this recognition in his very last class, in his very final semester before riding off into the sunset post-graduation. So Chief, how about we start here? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience on the discussion boards? Clearly your level of engagement earned you this recognition from your peers.
So as I've seen some of my other MVP winners state, that posting early and posting often is really my key to success. I was glad that some of the in classes that some of the boards would open up early, and that gave me a chance to do my reading and my research that was required, the required readings early, and then I would always try to be one of the first to post. And I think it kind of set the tone for the discussion, the topic discussion, and I would try to reply as long as my classmates weren't too late in the game of the week. I try to reply to everybody, and to me it was just, I'm a very schedule-oriented individual, so structure was very important to me. So again, replying often and usually in the beginning of when the posts were released or the topics were released, really worked for me, and I thought it was important to do that.
That's sage advice. Engaging early, engaging often. And clearly we appreciate when an MVP not only jumps in early, but jumps in early with a quality post that, like you said, kind of sets a precedent and expectations for folks across the program. So you earned this recognition in our community engagement course, Chief. I'd respectfully suggest that there might be no more important issue facing our country than police community relations. Can you tell us a bit more about what the Auburn Police Department is doing in terms of community engagement, and what, if anything, this course maybe contributed to those efforts?
Absolutely. I think community engagement is the number one, as you stated, the number one most important thing, especially now with the social justice movement in New York State, where I am currently went through a police reform mandate from our governor. I would like to say that we are very fortunate in our community, that we are highly regarded police department. We're supported not only by our citizens that we serve, but our elected officials as well. That obviously takes a sense of burden off of our police department, but community engagement is really our bread and butter. I think it's the secret to my success. It's something that I learned early to really get involved and to have collaboration not only with our partner stakeholders in the community, but the community as well. Displaying compassion, consistency, and commitment have really, the 4 C's have really paid dividends in our success as an organization and in me personally as a leader. So this being my last class really gave me a time to shine. It gave me an opportunity to share with my peers what we're doing here in Auburn, but also we're all going through similar obstacles. I got to learn how others were doing we're addressing the same challenges nationwide in different ways. So it was an amazing class. One of my favorites by far.
That's great to hear. And I can say from my academic perspective, one of the most rewarding parts of the program for me is seeing how different individuals and agencies wrestle with the same issue from California to Arizona, Texas, New York, Florida. It's great to get so many perspectives on the same challenges and opportunities. So here comes the requisite logistics question here, Chief. You're a busy police chief in a mid-size agency. You have an elected chair position with IACP. You're president of the Central New York Association of Chiefs of Police. Near and dear to my nerdy academic heart, you review grant proposals for the Bureau of Justice Assistance as a peer reviewer. So given all that's on your plate, how did you add a rigorous Master of Science degree to such a busy weekly calendar?
And I serve on numerous local organizations, our local hospital, our United Way. It's really all about structure. To me, I had to really carve out some serious time, and usually the weekends were my class time, and I'd come to the office. Since my organization, luckily for me, it paid for my tuition to take this class to advance my leadership abilities. It was part of my job. It was a personal goal, but also to make sure that they got their value out of what they were paying me. You know, my goal from the beginning was to graduate with a 4.0. So I knew the work and the dedication had to be there. So usually on the weekends, I would come into the office. I have that ability, and not everybody does, to come into a quiet space. At home, a lot of distractions. I'd usually read at home, but come in and actually do my writing and my post on the weekends. And it's all about the dedication in order to really get the most out of the program. And that's really how I did it, and it worked well for me.
That's really, really great to hear. I hear a lot of students over time say you get out of it what you put into it.
Absolutely.
And the more you're engaged, hopefully the bigger our service can be. So we appreciate that. So you just graduated. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a bit more about how you individually chose to participate in our graduation ceremonies, Chief?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, unfortunately, I planned to come out with my wife and make a long weekend out of a trip to San Diego and meet you in person, and a lot of my classmates that I went through this program with. But California was a little late in the game on getting their exactly what their COVID restrictions were going to be. So I had to have a drop dead date of when I was going to make up my mind. And unfortunately, coming out was not part of the plan. So my wife and a close friend and his wife kind of threw me a virtual graduation party over to their home. So we live streamed the ceremony, which was awesome. I got to see some of the faces and the virtual voices that I'd hear through the discussion boards. And my wife works at a local college, so she brought home a robe for me to wear. She made me wear it, and it was a great time. We celebrated in our own way at home, and huge accomplishment. I know my family is very proud. My kids, I like to set the example for them that learning is a lifelong journey, and that I am still in it, and going to school, and so I am proud of myself, and I know my family is, and it was an awesome accomplishment for me.
That's wonderful. And what a wonderful way to celebrate your graduation with your wife and friends' support. And you'll just have to use coming out to San Diego and your alma mater as an excuse to take a trip to San Diego in the winter, I believe, Chief.
We will get there.
Wonderful. And I will say, on a personal level, my single favorite thing about the program is that it does help reinforce that education precedent within the family. Story after story of, an adult working professional sitting down at the kitchen table next to their children to all do homework together. Pretty cool thing we get to facilitate.
Absolutely.
So speaking of 3,000 miles away, Auburn, New York, how did the University of San Diego even get on your radar?
So by way of the FBI National Academy. So in the fall of 2018, I was preparing for the National Academy, and there's different tracks of coursework you can take, and I had explored receiving my master's degree before the FBI Academy. I went back and finished my bachelor's degree late in my career, 2016. I went back and finally got that done, and I knew that this would be the next step in my professional career if I wanted to go further and plan for the future. So I took the master's course level track in the FBI National Academy through the University of Virginia. And once I got out, I started looking around, found you guys that you would take some of those credits through the FBI National Academy and University of Virginia. And it lined up perfectly. I did some research on the program, and I knew I was home, and it was a great decision. I'm glad I did it. Really one of the best decisions of my professional career and best experiences. I'm so pleased with the program, the quality. It's everything I expected and more.
Wow. Well, glad we served you well, Chief, and we really appreciate you taking advantage of those. I guess we can't say partnership with state affiliations, these mutually beneficial cooperative entities that we have going. Really glad that was attracted you to the program. So, Chief, as we push towards wrapping up here, I can say on behalf of everybody here in the Law Enforcement Leadership Program and the university, thank you for everything that you brought to the program. You were just one of those students who made everything around them better in every course, and we deeply appreciate it. So with so many exciting things happening in your personal and professional life, what is in your immediate future here, Chief?
So I have a little more than a month left before I decided to retire from this chapter. So I will retire with 25 years and 1 day at the Auburn Police Department and 5 years as Chief of Police. I truly believe that my position as Chief has an expiration date. And what I mean by that is I think, when you get to a point in your career, professional career, you can just coast because it's easy, or you're not challenged anymore, or you don't want to put in the effort to bring your agency to that next level. It's time to step aside. And I think in my position, I want to go out on top. I think we've done some amazing things in 5 years. I think we've built a quality team, and I am tired. I'm tired. I want to be challenged in different ways now. So I think it's time. It's time for my wife and my family. So in August, we sold everything. We sold the house, and we're going to jump in our RV, and we're going to travel the country for 3 months. And then we're going to land in November 1st. We'll land in North Carolina, and we're going to start the next chapter. Professionally, I think this 3 months is going to give me a real opportunity to self-reflect on how much I miss law enforcement, and I might miss it dearly, or I may not. So I think that's going to steer which direction I'm going to go in. There's a lot of opportunities in North Carolina that I've been looking at, and who knows, maybe I'll be a professor someday at a university. So really excited for this next chapter. This profession has served me so well. I can't imagine ever doing anything else. I wouldn't change a thing. And I know the way our our climate is in law enforcement profession. We're really struggling across the nation to try to find people to fill these roles. And I would encourage anybody, even though we're going through a tumultuous time now in this profession, that there's nothing more in the world that would have satisfied or quenched the thirst that I had for public service. This profession is by far like nothing else. So.
Wow, quite the endorsement. And it sounds like you have one heck of a family adventure on the horizon, and personally, professionally, academically, potentially, lots of great options ahead of you, Chief. So we hope that the university's brand serves you well, whether it's academia, private sector, or continued law enforcement leadership. As we wrap up here, Chief, any final thoughts here for the law enforcement and public safety leadership community?
So in New York, and we've had this conversation before about advanced education and how we're a civil service driven employer here in the state of New York. And I know California, a lot of their advancements in law enforcement are academically driven based on degrees and whatnot. But to me, I would always encourage any law enforcement professional to seek a higher degree, level of degree. I think it's something that nobody can ever take away from you. It's only going to add its value to your resume, and I think it's going to serve you well, especially if you want to get into leadership. So I would always encourage, and I'm trying to spur that with my own department. Our agency does pay for tuition for higher education. It's just something that's just not popular in our agency. To be honest with you, I think I'm probably the first officer here in my agency has ever achieved a master's degree. So it's just kind of breaking that mold. Hopefully I set the example for our officers, and I would always encourage anybody that's watching, just once you have it, once you're involved in it, nobody could ever take it away from you. And it's a great example for your personal, your life, your family, or your officers that you lead. So. Definitely an endorsement for USD and the LEPS program.
We appreciate that, Chief. And right now, I know you're celebrating your graduation, but right now the students are in the organizational leadership course. And one of the main messages I'm taking away is leading by example. So kudos to you for not just talking about the value of education, but earning it yourself as a mantle to show that example. So once again, I reiterate our appreciation for everything you brought to the program. Huge congratulations for being the discussion board most valuable player in our LEPS 520 Best Practices in Community Engagement course. Chief, I can't thank you enough for everything you did for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Callie, as well.
Yes, thank you both so much. And thank you everyone for hopping on today. I thank you all for watching live and watching the replay. We really appreciate it. And we will see you all next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.